Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I am Piyush Agarwal, an RPA developer, and I am back with the second video of this playlist, Create Your Own UiPath Custom Activities. So if you have not watched my previous video, do check out the first video of this playlist to understand the required applications such as Visual Studio 2019, Agate Package Explorer, how to download them, and how to start with your first activity. Now in this particular video we are going to practice more about creating our own custom activities. So we are going to learn how to create an activity that works with Excel. So the to initiate with working with Excel, we need another library. Like over here, these are the libraries which we are currently using. Now I want to go to references and I will add another reference for the Excel. So in this, click on comps. Now search for Microsoft Excel in this list. Now if I scroll down a little bit more, here I have a reference, Microsoft Excel 16.0 object library. This particular COM object is used to interact with Excel applications, to do manipulate Excel or create Excel workbook, delete, write, update, read. You, for any operation you will need this particular reference. Now let's invoke this in a code using Microsoft.office.interop.excel. Okay, next I need one more library over here using system.runtime.interop services. This is required for Marshall. This is for Excel, and another library called system.reflection. This is for missing dot values. So I will explain what are these three things with while continuing the video. So first, we know that a class is a activity. So to create another activity, we will just have to create another class, public class, and I will rename my activity as create workbook. Now we will inherit the code activity class in this and another parenthesis. So first of all, for your activity, the purpose is to create a workbook. Now, what is required to create a workbook? To create any workbook, I will need where I want to create that workbook, the path of the file, right? So let's create an in argument for that. So how we did that in the previous video, we write it prop and double tap 2 times. Then instead of in property, as this is a kind something a syntax for variables, so for arguments we will write in argument, then type of that argument, and then the argument name. Okay, and some information about this particular argument, like its category, it is of input type, then it is a required argument, which means that it is necessary for the user to fill in the value for this particular value in argument. Next, let's give it a display name. So display name is something which what is visible to the user. If I go to UiPath, select any activity, this string 1, string 2, these are display names. If you do not write the display name, then by default the argument name will be used as a display name. So the display name should be workbook path, and let's give a description as well for the user to understand what he or she is supposed to enter in this particular field. Please enter the full path of file where workbook is to be created. That's it. Now let's also give an output argument which is of workbook type, like the object of workbook itself. So I will have to copy these things again. Now Display name should be just workbook, and let's write it as a workbook object, and the argument type would be write out. Now it's data type. Since it is a workbook type, so we can give the data type as workbook itself, and let's give it as workbook obj. Cool. So with this, we are done with initialization. We have initialized the required values and outputs. Now comes the actual code. So just like in the previous video, we had created a protected function. So we are going to make that again. Protected override void execute. Now remove this throw and time to fetch the values which is given by the user. So to fetch that, I know you all remember from the previous video, it's very simple. We create a variable data type string, then the variable name, and is that our variable input argument is called file path. So file path dot get context. We have got the variable name in a Excel file variable, and now I want to create it create a workbook for this. So first let's initialize our Excel application. For that, I will write application, then a variable name. I am calling it as Excel app equals to new application. This will initialize this Excel app with a Excel app. Basically, this is your Excel application object. It helps you to interact with your Excel. Now, if I want to get the workbook, I will use a workbook data type and create a variable called like say Excel workbook, then Excel app dot workbook dot add. See, so Excel app is referring to your Excel application, then dot workbooks is just like you are opening an Excel and clicking on create new workbook, means a new Excel file, then add. Now by default it's asked for an object template argument as which is visible on the screen, but we do not want to pass any argument. For that we write missing dot value. Now you must have understood why we invoke that system dot reflection, that is to use this missing dot value function. Next, I want to see, since we have created a workbook object, now the only thing which is left is to save this file. Excel workbook dot save as and the path of the file. So that is Excel file and end it with a semicolon. This completes the work of particular activity. Like partially we have opened the Excel, we have created a new workbook, saved that file with the name that is given by the user. Now let's just close up everything that we have used. So first of all, I will add a comment closing all the applications. So Excel workbook dot close, then in this also if we see there are certain arguments to pass like true and missing dot value, missing dot value. To understand for any object if what the arguments are required, what things you need, so you can just hover over this particular function. Like it says the first value says if we should save the file or not, what is the file name, what is the root of the workbook. Okay, so we have set this as missing value because we have already saved the file and created the file in the above commands. Now we are just left with closing our Excel. So Excel app dot quit. Make sure you need to remember this, that whenever you work with Excel applications, you need to properly open it, properly close the file in a reverse manner. Like I first open the Excel app, I use Excel app to create the application, then the workbook. But when I'm closing, I am first closing the workbook, then I am closing the Excel. Now I have closed the application. Now I need to assign this workbook object, the Excel workbook, back to the user. So for that, what I'm going to do, this is something you all must would have known from the previous video again. So write returning the workbook variable to user, or to be precise, since it's not a variable, it's an object. So here we will write workbook object dot set context comma Excel workbook. And now we are just left with removing the unused com objects. Another important thing, even if you close the Excel, if the objects are still not released, they are not collected by the compiler, then it will create issues. So release com objects, something you need to do always, never forget. To do that, we are going to utilize the third library that we have invoked and not yet explained, system.runtime.interop services. So here I will write marshal dot release com object, and again in the reverse manner, first the Excel workbook, then again marshal dot release com object, and Excel app. So we are done with the coding part, and as you can see, there are no issues found with our code. Now what we just need to do is compile, build this code. So go to build, click on rebuild solution. I am choosing the rebuild solution part only because we have previously also created a class with this particular file, so we can just rebuild it and override the same file. Now copy this path, and we are going to the Nugget Package Explorer, delete the previous file, and again add existing file, add the path, open. This process is very same for all the videos, so I believe with the coming up with the solutions you will learn. Now the version I am increasing by 0.1, since this is the second package that we have published. And add the description, updated added activity to create a workbook. This is okay. This is the metadata of my package. Now I will click on file, save as, and save. Now let's test if the activity works or not. So I will go to manage packages. This is our package, done custom activities, and a new version is there. Now let's update it. And here you can see the description has also updated with all the details that we are filling over there. Now click on save. By the way, guys, if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do like, share, and subscribe my channel to always keep updated with the content, and that also motivates me to create more videos. So our package is loaded. We are going, let's check the starter package. Here our create workbook activity is available. I'm going to drag it. Now let's see, is the a pop-up has come that value for a required activity argument file path was not supplied, which we can see, which is the work of this required argument line that we have entered in our code for file path. Now the display name is workbook path, even though the argument name is file path, right? And if I hover over this, it is showing me the description, or if you hover over here on the name, you get the complete details that this is the workbook path, is a description name, it is of an argument type of string, and what is the requirement. Now let's enter some values for this. I am going to copy any file's name over here, copy as path, going back to studio, and let's change this to new workbook.xlsx. Okay, and let's create a workbook object as well, what kind of data type it is. So that is done. Now if I check the variables panel, I can see that the variable type of workbook is created where microsoft.office.interrupt.excel.workbook. That's great. And let's run this activity and see how it goes. So the activity has run and it has created the required file for me, right? That was wonderful. If you guys by any chance face an issue that the file is in reading state, you can only check this file in read only state, it is not opening properly for you, then you need to again check your code for the last part that I had mentioned. Do not forget to release the com objects and close your Excel applications properly. That's all guys for this video. Hope you like my videos and are able to learn how to create your own custom activities. It is not the end for this playlist. I'm going to create more videos, and so that together we can practice on what are the different ways to create our own activities. Thank you guys. See you in the next video.